The repair shop smelled like oil and hot metal, wiped his hands on a dirty cloth and looked at the broken engine part on his workbench. It was another long day at Harmony Station, a small human colony on the edge of known space. Outside his shop window, he could see aliens and humans walking through the busy market streets. "We have a customer," called from the front office. She was his business partner and best friend. They had run this small repair shop together for 5 years now. Walked to the front and stopped. Standing in the doorway was he had never seen one in person before. The alien looked like a giant insect about 7 feet tall, with 4 arms and dark blue skin that shimmered like metal. 2 large black eyes stared at him. They seemed nervous, which was strange. Everyone knew they were proud and powerful. "Can we help you?" asked in the language. She was good with languages and could speak 12 different alien tongues. "My ship is broken," they said quietly. "The main engine has failed. I have asked 5 other repair shops. They all said no." Understood why. Technology was extremely advanced and difficult to work with. Most mechanics would not touch it. The parts were expensive and hard to find. If you made a mistake, they could sue you or worse. "Why do you need it fixed so urgently?" asked. There was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke in a softer voice. "My name is, I am carrying medicine. My child is very sick. The medicine must reach my home world in 4 days or my child will die." And looked at each other. They both knew what this meant. If they helped, they would lose money. Parts were extremely expensive. They might have to make custom pieces from scratch. It could take days of work. "Please," said, his voice cracked with emotion. "I have enough money for basic repairs only. No one will help me. You are my last hope." Thought about his own family. He had a sister with 2 children. He loved them very much. He could not imagine watching a child die because no one would help. "Show me your ship," said. Ship was docked at the station's landing bay. It was beautiful and sleek, with curves that seemed to flow like water. But when opened the engine compartment, he saw the problem immediately. The quantum stabilizer had cracked. Without it, the ship could not travel faster than light. These parts cost more than made in 6 months. "This is very bad," said honestly. "I do not have this part. I cannot buy it either. It costs too much money." Shoulders dropped. His antennae bent down in sadness. "I understand. Thank you for looking." "Wait," said. "I did not say I cannot fix it. I said I cannot buy the part, but maybe I can make one." "Make one?" Eyes widened. "This is level 7 technology. It requires precision at the molecular level." "I know," said with a small smile. "That is why it will take me 3 days of no sleep, and I will probably fail 5 times before I succeed, but I will try." For the next 3 days, barely left the repair shop. Brought him food and coffee while he worked. He used every tool they owned. He melted down rare metals and shaped them with laser precision. He failed 4 times. Each time, the part broke or did not work correctly. On the 3rd day, with only hours left before the deadline, created a stabilizer that worked. It was not as perfect as a made part, but it would hold. It would get home. They installed it carefully in the ship. When turned on the engine, it hummed to life. The readings were good. The ship was space-worthy again. Stood there with tears running down his face. "You have saved my child's life. How much do I owe you?" Calculated the costs in his head. The metals, the power, the tools he had damaged. It was more than had said he could pay. "Nothing," said before could speak. "You owe us nothing." "What?" Looked shocked. "But you worked for 3 days. You used expensive materials." "Yes," said. "But your child needs medicine. Keep your money. Buy more medicine if you need it. Just do us one favor." "Anything," said. "Remember that someone helped you when you needed it. And when you can, help someone else who needs it. Kindness should travel forward." Stood very still. In culture and would learn later, life debts were sacred. They were more important than money or power. They were eternal and binding. "I will never forget this," said. His voice was heavy with emotion. In my culture, you have just given me and my family a life debt. This means something very important to my people." He reached into his clothing and pulled out a small crystal. It was the size of a coin and glowed with soft blue light. "This is a favored token," explained. "It marks you as someone who showed mercy to a. Please keep it. It may be useful someday." Took the crystal. It felt warm in his hand. "Thank you, but we did not help you for a reward." "I know," said. "That is exactly why you deserve it." They boarded his ship and left within the hour, and watched the ship disappear into the stars. They went back to their shop and placed the crystal on a shelf, where it sat collecting dust among old tools and spare parts. Neither of them knew that this small act of kindness would change the fate of humanity forever. 15 years had passed since that day at Harmony Station, and were older now, with gray hair and tired eyes. Their repair shop still stood in the same place, still fixing ships for modest prices. The small blue crystal sat on a shelf in the back office, covered in dust. They rarely thought about it anymore. His nephew had grown up listening to his uncle's stories about fixing spaceships. Now he was 28 years old and flew a small cargo ship for a living. His co-pilot was a smart woman who studied alien plants and animals. They made a good team. "This job pays well," said as he checked their course on the navigation screen. "We deliver medical supplies to the research station on Outpost 7, and we get paid 3,000 credits." "Sounds too easy," said from her seat. She was looking at her tablet, reading about the native plants on Outpost 7. When something sounds too easy, it usually is. "You worry too much," laughed. "What could go wrong? It is just a simple delivery run through the neutral zone." 2 days into their journey, everything went wrong. The attack came without warning. 3 pirate ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel right in front of them. They were old military vessels, covered in weapons and painted with dark red symbols. "Pirate ships," shouted 3 of them. "I see them." Hands moved quickly across the controls. He turned their ship hard to the left and pushed the engines to maximum power. "Hold on." Laser fire streaked past their ship. The pirates were fast and experienced. Within minutes they had surrounded its cargo ship. There was no escape. "This is the Red Claw Gang," a rough voice said over the communication system. "Stop your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy your ship." Felt fear rise in his chest. He had heard stories about the Red Claw Gang. They were brutal. They took everything valuable and sometimes killed the crew anyway. "What do we do?" asked. Her face was pale. Did the only thing he could think of. He activated the emergency distress beacon. It sent out a signal to any ships nearby calling for help, but they were in the neutral zone. No military ships patrolled here. No one would come. "Nice try," the pirate leader laughed. "No one is coming to help you out here. Now stop your engines or we start shooting." Was about to surrender when grabbed his arm. "Look at the scanners." A massive shape had appeared on their sensors. It was huge, much bigger than any ship had ever seen. It was at least 2 miles long, with elegant curves and powerful energy readings. "What is that?" whispered. The pirates had seen it too. Their confident voices now sounded worried. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself," the pirate leader demanded. A new voice came over the communication system. It was calm and formal, speaking in perfect human language. "This is the Imperial Dreadnought Eternal Honor. You are attacking a protected vessel. Cease your assault immediately or be destroyed." The pirate leader sounded confused. "Since when do they care about human cargo ships? This is not your business." "You have 10 seconds to withdraw," the voice said. The pirates opened fire on the dreadnought. It was a stupid mistake. The ship did not even seem to notice the laser fire hitting its shields. Then it fired back. Had never seen weapons like this. Beams of pure white energy shot from the dreadnought. They moved so fast they seemed to appear and disappear in the same instant. The first pirate ship exploded into a ball of fire. The second tried to run, but another beam cut it in half. The third ship was simply torn apart by some kind of invisible force. In less than 30 seconds, all three pirate ships were gone. Only debris remained. And sat in their seats, unable to speak. They just stared at the massive warship floating in front of them. "Human cargo vessel, you are safe now," the voice said. "Please state your names and origin." Found his voice. We are from Harmony Station. Thank you for saving us, but I do not understand. Why did you help us?" There was a pause, then the spoke again, and now the voice sounded curious. "Did you say Harmony Station? Are you connected to and of Harmony Station?" His eyes widened. "Is my uncle, how do you know him?" Another pause, longer this time. Then a new voice spoke. It sounded older and carried great authority. "Your uncle and his partner once saved the life of a named. They saved his child. In doing so, they earned a life debt from our people. That debt extends to all of their family and friends." "I do not understand," said. "That was 15 years ago and it was just a ship repair. Why does it matter now?" "In culture, a life debt is eternal," the voice explained. "It passes through generations. It never expires. Your family showed mercy and kindness to one of ours when they had no reason to do so. They gained nothing from it. They even lost money. Such actions are rare in this galaxy. They must be honored and protected." "So you saved us because of something my uncle did 15 years ago?" asked. She could barely believe it. "Yes," the captain said simply. "The debt is remembered. It will always be remembered. You are protected, and any ship that detects your vessel will ensure your safety. This is our way." The dreadnought moved beside their small cargo ship like a giant guardian. It escorted them all the way to Outpost 7, making sure no other pirates or dangers came near them. When they finally arrived safely at the research station, the dreadnought turned and disappeared back into faster-than-light travel, and sat in their ship for a long time, not saying anything. Finally spoke. "We need to call your uncle," she said. "I do not think he knows what he started that day." "No," said quietly, still staring at where the ship had been. "I do not think anyone knows, but something tells me we are going to find out." 1 year after the pirate attack, humanity faced its greatest threat. The collective had begun its expansion into human territory. They were a powerful empire that had conquered 12 other species in the past 100 years. Now they wanted human worlds. The first attack came at Border Colony 5. 3,000 people lived there, farming and mining. The ships arrived without warning. By the time human military forces responded, the colony was destroyed. Only 200 survivors escaped. Admiral stood in the command center of the human fleet headquarters. He was 50 years old, with sharp eyes and a stern face. He had fought in 3 wars, but he had never seen an enemy like this. The reports on his screen were all bad news. "How many ships do they have?" he asked his tactical officer. "Our scouts count at least 400 warships," the officer reported. "And that is just their advance fleet. Intelligence suggests they have twice that number in reserve." Felt his stomach tighten. Humanity had only 150 warships total. They were outnumbered and— "What about allies?" asked. "Have we heard back from the other species?" A woman stepped forward. Her name was, and she was the chief diplomat for the human coalition. She looked tired and frustrated. "The Republic says they are neutral. The clans will not get involved. The Federation is too far away to help in time." "What about someone asked. Shook her head. "The Empire has a strict policy of non-interference. They have not involved themselves in galactic conflicts for over 200 years. I sent them a formal request for help 3 days ago. They declined." Slammed his fist on the table. "So we are alone." "Yes, sir," said quietly. "We are alone." Far away, on the home world, a very different conversation was taking place. The Council of Elders sat in a great circular chamber. There were 12 of them, the oldest of their kind. They had ruled the empire for centuries. "The humans have requested our military assistance," Elder said. She was the head of the council. "They face extinction from the collective." "This is not our concern," Elder said. He was old and traditional. "We have maintained neutrality for 200 years. Why should we break that now?" "Because of the life debt," a familiar voice said. All eyes turned too. He was older now, with gray markings on his blue skin, but his voice was still strong. He had become a high-ranking elder himself over the past 15 years. "We have discussed this," Elder said gently. "Your personal debt to 2 humans does not obligate the entire empire to go to war." "With respect, Elder, I disagree," said. He stood and walked to the center of the chamber. 15 years ago, 2 humans saved my child's life. They worked for 3 days without sleep. They used expensive materials, and when they were done, they asked for no payment. None." "That was their choice," Elder said. "A noble choice perhaps, but it does not bind us." "Does it not?" His voice grew stronger. "Think about what they did. They knew they would lose money. They knew technology was dangerous to work with. They knew they might fail. But they tried anyway because a child needed medicine. They put compassion above profit. They valued life above their own comfort." The chamber was silent. The elders listened. "I have spent 15 years studying humanity," continued. "I have read their history. I have watched their actions. Do you know what I have learned? This is not unusual for them. Humans constantly choose kindness over logic. They help strangers. They save enemies. They adopt animals that serve no purpose. They cry at sad stories. They give away their last food to someone who is hungry." "That sounds foolish," Elder said. "Does it?" asked. "Or is it the greatest wisdom? We are logical. We are advanced. We are powerful. But when was the last time we did something that gained us nothing? When was the last time we helped someone just because it was right?" Elder leaned forward. "What are you proposing?" "I am proposing that humanity represents something rare in this galaxy," said. "A species that values compassion. If we let them be destroyed, what message does that send? That kindness is weakness. That mercy leads to extinction. I refuse to believe that. My child lives because of human compassion. Should I now stand by and watch their children die?" "But this would mean war," Elder said. "They are powerful, many would die." "Yes," agreed. "War is terrible, but letting good people die when we can save them is worse. The humans showed us that. They taught us that life debts matter, that honor matters, that doing the right thing matters even when it is hard." The council debated for hours. Some agreed with, others argued for neutrality. The arguments grew heated. Finally, Elder raised her hand for silence. "We will vote," she said. "All in favor of honoring the life debt and assisting humanity, raise your hand." Raised his hand immediately. Then another elder raised her hand. Then another. Slowly, more hands went up. When the count was finished, 7 had voted yes. 5 had voted no. It was decided. "Prepare the fleet," Elder said. "The Empire goes to war." Back at Human Fleet headquarters was planning their last stand. They were 3 days away from the colony world of New Sol. If New Sol fell, the core human worlds would be exposed. It would be the beginning of the end. "We will make our stand at New Sol," told his officers. "Gather every ship we have. Call in all reserves. We might not win, but we will make them pay for every inch." Stood in the back of the room, watching. She felt helpless. Diplomacy had failed. All she could do now was watch brave people prepare to die. Her communication device buzzed. She looked at it and her eyes widened. It was a message from the Empire. Her hands shook as she opened it. "Admiral," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "you need to see this." Walked over and read the message. His stern face showed surprise for the first time in years. The message was simple. "The battle fleet is mobilizing. Destination, New Sol. We honor the debt. We remember the kindness. Prepare for our arrival." Looked at, what does this mean? It means, said with tears in her eyes, that we are not alone anymore. The human fleet assembled near New Seoul. Every available ship had come. 137 warships, from massive carriers to small frigates. It was everything humanity had. Against them came 400 warships, their dark hulls blocking out the stars. Admiral stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiant. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew this might be their last battle, but no one showed fear. They were ready to fight. "Sir, the fleet is entering weapons range," the tactical officer reported. "All ships battle positions," ordered. His voice was calm and steady. "Today we show them that humanity does not surrender. We fight for our families. We fight for our future. We fight for every human who cannot fight for themselves." The human ships moved into formation. They looked small compared to the massive armada approaching them, but they held their ground. "Incoming transmission from the communications officer said. "Put it on," ordered. A face appeared on the screen. It was reptilian, with dark green scales and cold yellow eyes. This was Commander, leader of the invasion force. "Human Admiral," said with a hissing laugh, "you have so few ships. Why do you not surrender? We will make your deaths quick." "We do not surrender," said simply. "If you want our worlds, you will have to take them, and we will make you pay for every single one." Laughed again. "So brave, so stupid. Very well, die with honor, humans." The transmission ended. "Sir, ships are charging weapons," the tactical officer said. "All ships prepare to fire," ordered. This was it. The battle that would decide humanity's fate was about to begin. Then something impossible happened. "Sir," the sensor operator shouted. "Multiple wormhole signatures, massive energy readings, something is coming through." His eyes went to the main screen. Space itself seemed to tear open in dozens of places. Huge portals appeared, glowing with blue and white energy, and through them came ships. Ships. Hundreds of them. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Each one was a work of art, with flowing curves and elegant designs. But they bristled with weapons that made human and technology look like toys. The largest ship was 5 miles long, bigger than anything ever built by human hands. Its hull shimmered with shields that bent light itself. It moved through space like a predator, graceful and deadly. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission," the communications officer said. She sounded shocked. "It is from the flagship." "Put it through," said. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. Appeared on the screen. He was old, with gray markings on his blue skin, but his eyes were bright and alert. "Admiral," the said, "I am Elder of the Empire. You do not know me, but I know of you. I know your people. 15 years ago, 2 humans saved my child's life. They asked for nothing in return. Today, I repay that debt." Felt his throat tighten with emotion. "Elder, we are grateful beyond words, but you do not have to do this. They are powerful." "They are strong," yes, agreed. "But they do not understand honor. They do not understand compassion. These are the things that make a species truly powerful. Your people showed me this. Now let me show you what to do for those we honor." His image disappeared. Then the fleet moved forward. The commander watched in growing horror as the ships took position beside the human fleet. He had heard stories about military power, but they had not fought a war in 200 years. He had assumed they had grown soft. He was about to learn how wrong he was. "All ships attack the fleet," ordered. "Destroy them." They opened fire with everything they had. Thousands of missiles and laser beams streaked toward the ships. It was enough firepower to destroy a moon. The shields absorbed it all without even flickering. Not a single ship was damaged. Then they fired back. Beams of pure white energy shot from the ships. Where they hit vessels, the ships simply ceased to exist. They did not explode. They did not break apart. They were just gone, converted to atoms in an instant. Other ships fired blue pulses that seemed to pass through the shields as if they were not there. These pulses caused the ships to stop working. Their engines died. Their weapons went offline. They drifted helplessly in space. They tried to run. Some ships turned and attempted to escape to faster-than-light speed, but the ships moved faster. They cut off every escape route. Within minutes, the entire armada was either destroyed or disabled. 400 warships, defeated in less than 10 minutes, without a single ship taking damage. And his crew could only watch in stunned silence. They had expected a battle. Instead, they witnessed a demonstration of power beyond anything they had imagined. "This is Elder to Admiral," the communication came through. "The threat is neutralized. Your people are safe." Elder said, his voice shook slightly. "I have no words. You have saved us. Why would you do this?" There was a pause. When spoke again, his voice was gentle. "Your people chose compassion over profit. Your mechanic worked 3 days without sleep to save my child. His partner refused payment even though they needed the money. This is rare in the galaxy, Admiral. Most species think only of themselves. They take what they can get. They help others only when it benefits them." Continued. "But humans are different. I have studied your history. I have watched your actions. You save animals that cannot help you. You cry for strangers. You give to those who have nothing. You choose kindness even when it costs you. This is worth protecting. This is worth fighting for." "But this was just one act of kindness by 2 people," said. "Not all humans are like that." "No," agreed. "Not all humans are perfect, but enough of you are good that it defines your species. You create cultures that value mercy. You teach your children to help others. You write stories about heroes who sacrifice for strangers. This is your strength. This is what makes you special." On the home world, the Council of Elders watched the battle on their screens. Even Elder, who had voted against the war, nodded slowly. "Perhaps," he said quietly, "was right. Perhaps some things are worth fighting for." The war ended the day after the battle at New Seoul. When the collective learned that the Empire had allied with humanity, they immediately requested peace. They from all human territory and offered compensation for the colonies they had destroyed. No one wanted to fight But the real story was just beginning. 3 months after the battle, and received an invitation. It came in a small crystal box delivered by a diplomatic courier. Inside was a holographic message from Elder himself. And the message said, "You are invited to the home world as honored guests of the Empire. Please accept this invitation. There are millions who wish to thank you." And looked at each other in confusion. They were simple repair shop owners. They had fixed one ship 15 years ago. They did not understand why this was still important. "Should we go?" asked. "I think we have to," said. "I think we need to understand what we started." 2 weeks later, they arrived at the home world. It was a beautiful planet covered in crystalline cities that glowed in the sunlight. When their shuttle landed, they found thousands of waiting for them. All of them were holding blue lights, a sign of respect in culture. Himself greeted them. He was older now, but his eyes were bright with joy. Behind him stood a younger, tall and strong. Said, "Welcome, I want you to meet someone." He gestured to the young. "This is my child, Calzin, the one you saved." Calzin stepped forward and bowed deeply. "You gave me life," he said in careful human language. "Everything I am, everything I will ever be exists because of you. Thank you." Felt tears running down her face. "We just fixed your father's ship," she said. "We did not do anything special." "You did everything," said. "You valued life over money. You chose kindness over profit. You worked without sleep to save someone you did not know. This is special. This is everything." Over the next week and were taken across the home world. Everywhere they went came to thank them. Scientists, teachers, workers, children. All of them had heard the story. All of them wanted to express gratitude. But the real surprise came on the 7th day. Elder, the head of the council, met with them privately. And she said, "The Empire wishes to form a permanent alliance with humanity. We wish to share our technology and knowledge with your people." His eyes widened. "Share technology, but your technology is centuries ahead of ours." "Yes," Elder said, "and we will teach you all of it. Medical technology that can cure diseases you thought were incurable. Energy systems that will power your worlds cleanly forever. Agricultural methods that will end hunger. Transportation systems that will connect your colonies instantly." "Why?" asked. "Why would you give us so much?" "Because you earned it," Elder said simply. "Not through conquest or trade, not through politics or manipulation. You earned it through simple kindness. You showed us something we had forgotten, that compassion matters, that helping others is not weakness but strength." She continued, "For 200 years we isolated ourselves. We thought we were above the problems of other species. We watched wars and suffering and did nothing. We told ourselves it was wisdom, but it was cowardice. You showed us the truth. One act of kindness saved one child, but that kindness rippled outward. It changed our entire civilization." Over the next 5 years, they kept their promise. They sent teachers to human worlds. They shared medical knowledge that saved millions of lives. They taught humans how to build better ships, grow better food, heal better wounds. Human increased by 30 years. Diseases that had killed thousands now could be cured easily. Colonies that had struggled to grow food now had more than they needed. But the greatest gift was not the technology. It was the friendship. Humans and began to work together, learn together, and live together. Young came to study at human universities. Young humans went to learn on the home world. Two species that had barely known each other became true allies. Admiral, now retired, visited and at their repair shop. It still looked the same, though they did not need to work anymore. They kept it open because they enjoyed it. "Do you know what you did?" asked them. "Historians are calling it the kindness cascade. One act of compassion that saved billions of lives and changed galactic politics forever." "We just fixed a ship," said, but he was smiling. "No," said, "you fixed much more than that." 10 years after the war, the small blue crystal was placed in Earth's Museum of First Contact. It sat in a special room dedicated to the story of, and millions of people came to see it each year. One day, a school class visited the museum. They were young children, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Their teacher brought them to the crystal exhibit. "This small crystal changed the course of human history," the teacher explained. "It represents a simple truth. Kindness matters. Compassion matters. Even small acts of goodness can have consequences beyond imagination." One little girl raised her hand. "Teacher, weren't special. Did they have powers?" "No," the teacher said with a smile. "They were ordinary people who made an extraordinary choice. They chose to help when helping was hard. They chose kindness over profit, and that choice saved us all." In the back of the room, an old woman sat in a wheelchair, watching the children. She came to the museum sometimes, enjoying the peace and quiet. A young student noticed her and walked over. "Excuse me," the boy said. "Are you the real?" "Yes," said gently, "I am." "Can I ask you something?" the boy said. "When you fixed Elder's ship, did you know what would happen? Did you know it would lead to all of this?" Smiled. It was a question she had been asked 1,000 times. "No," she said honestly. "We had no idea. We just knew that a father needed help to save his child. We knew it was the right thing to do." "But you lost money," the boy said, confused. "You worked for 3 days for nothing. That does not make sense." "Doesn't it?" asked. "Tell me something. If you saw someone who needed help and you could help them, would you do it?" "Of course," the boy said immediately. "Even if it cost you something, even if you got nothing back." The boy thought about it. "Yes," he said, "I think I would." "Then you understand perfectly," said. "That is what makes us human. We help because it is right, not because we will be rewarded. And sometimes, in the most unexpected ways, the universe rewards that kindness anyway. The boy smiled and ran back to his class. Watched him go, thinking about the strange path her life had taken. One ship repair, one act of kindness, and now humanity walked among the stars with powerful friends and unlimited potential. She thought about who still sent her messages every month. She thought about the millions of lives saved by medicine. She thought about the young humans and studying together, building friendships that would last generations. All of it started in a dusty repair shop on a forgotten station. All of it began with a simple choice to help someone who needed it. Looked up at the blue crystal glowing softly in its case. After all these years, it still amazed her, not because of what it was, but because of what it represented. The truth that kindness is never wasted, that compassion always matters, that a favor granted to any being, human or alien, is never forgotten, and that when goodness meets goodness, the reward will always amaze you.